Hey there, trying this again. We just got abruptly cut off on our IG Live Love Me Chit Chat. Nadine, Searle, and I. We were right in the middle of a very real conversation, and I feel like sometimes that's not an accident that we abruptly got cut off because of what we were talking about. So, and which isn't really that controversial, but sometimes when you're talking about truth, it's controversial because I'll just leave it at that. Here's Nadine. Let me bring her in. But let's try this again. Sometimes I think we hit too close to home with some of our conversations. And some people don't like that. So also we could be blaming Mercury retrograde, but sometimes I don't know. This isn't the first time that's happened where we've gotten abruptly cut off when we're right in the heart of a truth conversation, truth, deep, talking about how we can empower ourselves ultimately through these conversations. And it's just so funny how we get cut off. But anyways, we will try this
We're
again.
back.
So
We're back.
I I can't remember exactly where I got cut off, but I feel like so we were saying how when you were going through your treatment and your experience going through navigating that different types of treatment and how, and that relates to us, our topic. Just want to
Yeah.
bring that back in about like being okay with not being okay. And
Yeah.
what
Yeah.
I remember, what I was going to say was, I think you weren't even done with your chemo because you had like there were two protocols for the chemo. There was the first and second,
Yes.
and then you were in the second one, and people were like, "Oh, so you're done now? Oh,
Yes.
because your hair started coming back,
Yes.
right?"
Yes. And it is, isn't it? We go with the visual all the time, don't we? And there's nothing wrong with
Yeah.
that. And as I say now, I hope I'm looking healthy. I've got hair,
Hmm.
I've got my skin's okay now. There's so much good. I'm healing. My body's amazing. It's wonderful. But there's still stuff going on. And like I say, the emotions, if anything, are out there more. But that's again part of the process. And again, anyone that's gone through any kind of grief,
Hmm.
loss, change, probably feels, emotions come when they come. You can't choose when that happens. But I did have, and I think you were sort of touching on it before, I had an experience again that I shared with you that I'd like to share with everyone as well,
Yeah.
where I went back to the hospital for it's technical details. I'll say it anyway. Zoledronic acid. You don't need to know what it is, but it's not chemotherapy. It's something you have afterwards. And
Hmm.
again, I'm very grateful to be having that because it helps your bone density build up a little bit. But you have to have, I went back to the same hospital, you have to have blood tests 2 days before, and then you go and have the treatment, and it's an infusion,
Hmm.
and it's in the chemo ward with all the others. And again, it took me right back. My chemotherapy had officially finished in April. And then I'm going back and I'm having something else. It's not the same. It's different. I'm through all that, but it hit me again. Those emotions came back because I thought, oh God, it's not over. And I was feeling the same, the same place, the same people. Much as it's lovely there, they treat you very well. I was going, oh goodness, it's not over. And it really hit me that there was a little bit of concern. Maybe it will never be over because we don't know, do we? That's an unknown. And then I really, really felt for the people that it's not over.
Hmm.
There are a lot of people that are having chemotherapy, having cancer treatment, and all sorts of different kinds, that it will never be over for them. So I really felt that. And I was hit with that massively. Just thinking, oh my goodness, this is the reality of what it is like for some people. And my heart goes out to anyone that is going through that because that is a reality for them too. So again, it's that kind of, I call it the cancer lessons that I get, isn't it? That really, is something for me I needed to recognize that. I needed to feel that.
Hmm.
And as you know, and I'm starting to share with people, I'm coming out the other side of this. I am thinking about work again, which is exciting.
Hmm.
And I really, really, through all of this, that's made me really focus on the fact that I want to help people that have had a cancer diagnosis. I know that you know, I've learnt so much. My calmer self method that I've been teaching for a long time now has helped me. And I want to actually focus that on helping people that have a cancer diagnosis and the people that love and care for them, because we're talking about the worry that everyone else feels, the anxiety. They go through it too, don't they? So I think there's a little bit of the universe maybe making that feeling come up for me.
Yeah.
And again, I'm grateful to go, oh, actually, yeah, there's a whole load of people that this is their reality. So again, thank you for, you know, allowing me to share that, because I hope some people can feel that, and it's just a bit more understanding for me.
Hmm. And you know, it's interesting too, you sharing that. First of all, I feel like you're meant to, like, through this whole process, you've been really sharing everything you've been going, or a lot of what you've been going through. And I think that in and of itself has helped you process, like, in real time, a lot of what was happening. But also there's that sense of like when you went for this most recent trip to the hospital for that treatment, um, after your chemo, like you said, everything that you hadn't processed, because I think also like what you shared was like sometimes like our body physically, we just need to get through whatever it is we're getting,
Yeah,
whatever it is we're going through.
yeah,
Our nervous system is like subconsciously protecting us, and there's a whole plethora of studies around that too, about how we just go into survival mode.
yes, we
and
do.
and
Why wouldn't
then
we?
so yeah, and so because so you're not able to feel that emotion in real time, it gets like stored in the body, as even as much as you were consciously going there and using your calmer self method,
Yeah,
using the tools that you have and the
yes,
support around you, and whatever through in that real time. That doesn't mean that you addressed or faced everything that you felt in that moment when you were just kind of in survival mode getting through
yeah,
it. So I
yeah,
feel like that too was everything came back, flooding back, like the emotions of it that you hadn't yet processed. And I feel like that's so important to recognize that, like, yeah, so we might not be able, like, we're not saying that you have to feel every emotion in the moment.
mm,
Like, you know, sometimes we can't. And
yes,
so, but it's always healthy for us to come back to that. Otherwise, you know, that's just going to build and compound one on top of the other. And so something
yes,
small that could be triggering, that we could maybe navigate on a, you know, if we're feeling good, like if we're not feeling good, and then we have all that compound emotion that we haven't processed underneath that, it becomes bigger than what it actually needs to be. It becomes
yeah,
disproportionate to the situation. And I mean, I think so many of us can relate to that. It doesn't have to be like you've gone through a breast cancer treatment or cancer
yeah,
treatment or anything. It
yeah,
could be grief too. It can be
yeah,
like, I want to make that connection too, because I know we all can relate to any form of grief that we've been through.
yeah,
And
yeah,
we see somebody going through grief, and we want them to be okay, just like we see somebody going through
yeah,
treatment and we want them to be
yeah,
okay. So we'll be
yeah,
like, oh, it's been a month since, you know, like since
mm,
like your loss or whatever, so
yeah,
you're okay now,
yeah,
right? Like, how are you doing? Are you
yeah,
good? And so
yeah,
almost like, and sometimes we don't even want to ask because we don't want the real answer. And so then that becomes even more isolating for the person that's going through it, because now you're alone. Now you're also having to navigate what you share and how you relate to other people, because you want other people to feel okay about what you're going
yeah,
through. And
we
there's
do. Yeah.
all this like complexity of
There's
stuff
a lot,
that
isn't there?
doesn't really have to be there if we were just allowed to be who we
Yeah,
are, or what we're feeling in the moment, where we're at right now. Just be,
yeah,
to meet ourselves where we're at, to meet
yeah.
each other where we're at in the
Yes,
moment.
yeah. And I think that is really the message we want to get across with this conversation, isn't it? That actually to think
Hmm.
about, you know, when we ask that question, how are you? You know, be ready for an answer, be okay with whatever the answer is. We don't have to heal anybody, we don't have to change anything, you know, but we
Hmm.
can just maybe listen, because that helps, doesn't it? You know, just let people speak. We don't have to change anything necessarily, you know. Because sometimes people think, oh, if they tell me something's wrong, I've got to fix it. That's not the case, is it? It's just to be
Right.
heard sometimes.
Sometimes it's
Um,
just somebody to listen to us, to
yeah,
hold
yeah,
space. Like, that's
yeah.
simple as that.
And
And
I love it. You know, I love it when people say to me, I don't know what to do. You know,
it's,
I want to help you. I
yeah,
want to do. don't know what to do. I love that honesty because
Mm-hmm.
I'm not actually, I don't realize I'm not asking them to do anything. But when they can be that honest with me and go, I don't know what to do. Or sometimes people have said to me, "Well, that scared me," and I go, and I'm sorry about that. But they're honest with me, and I
I
love that
love that.
honesty.
Yeah.
And for people to be able to know that they can be honest too, and in a jokey way, you can say, "Well, I asked you if you're okay. I didn't really want to know." I've had that said to me before, and you think, "Yeah, it's
Yeah.
real." Maybe you didn't really want to know.
Yeah.
I haven't got time. And that's okay too,
Right.
isn't it? But I know you said to me as well something that really hit home, and it's so important.
Mm-hmm.
What we're talking about now does speak to the silent sort of part of the mental health that people do struggle with. When people have, like I say, I feel shame and I feel sometimes that kind of depression and anxiety, and it hits, and it's quite scary to feel that because I'm not coping with things. And again, that's something that I'm sure a lot of people can resonate with. When we touch on that feeling, there's a big mental health issue, with the way the world is at the moment and everything. But again, to share, I'm not okay. I might not know what it is that I'm not okay with, but I'm not feeling 100% okay. That is good to share as well, isn't it? And again,
Yeah.
for people to know that they don't have to fix that. They just sometimes need to listen. That can be enough, can't
Mm-hmm.
it? So that's kind of a bit of a simple message I'd like to get out there, that people don't have to fix people. They don't have to think they do. They can just
Hold it.
say,
Like just
yeah,
listen. Be
yeah,
somebody, yeah, to lend the ear. And I feel like the more we do that, the more comfortable we are just sharing the truth. And the
yeah,
more we can hold it, but the more common it becomes that we don't have
mm,
to hide something that might be perceived as negative or not
yeah,
feeling
yeah,
good
yeah,
or whatever it is. And I
yeah,
feel like the more we do that, the stronger we become with ourselves, with our connection to
yes,
ourselves. That's the process of healing
yeah,
in real time. And when we do that, I think, and I think a lot of times, like when we don't want to go there with people, like we don't want to know what they're actually going through because it can be triggering. It can be triggering to hear
mm,
something that we maybe haven't dealt with in our own
yeah,
experience or life or whatever that we haven't shared with somebody, and like we're going through something that like it just kind of like reflects back onto what we're going through ourselves, that
yes,
we're afraid to let anyone know about. And I
yeah,
think that that's where we get lost and we forget who we are when we're like in
yes,
those kind of those moments. And
yeah,
I know I can relate to that, like, or I of a recent experience of that too. And then it's also okay if you're feeling like you said, like you've said many times just while we're talking, like if we feel bad about something, or if it scares us, even like that person who said what you just shared scared me.
mm,
And
mm,
um that's okay. It's
yeah.
okay to feel that.
It
And
is, isn't it? And for us to know that it's okay if we too inadvertently scare someone,
yeah,
and again to remember that those emotions aren't forever.
it's not
It is
forever. Exactly. Yeah.
that's quite freeing for me to remember that. I might be feeling something, I might be feeling scared, and I don't want that, but it doesn't last.
Hmm.
And again, that freedom to share it helps the processing. So remembering that, and there's quite a lot of stigma, isn't there, around admitting that you're not coping with anything in any shape or form.
Right.
And I think again that I'd like people to hear that message, that actually share it, because if you do, then other people feel more comfortable sharing, and it has that ripple effect, doesn't it? And I think I know that that's one of your purposes, if you like, for when you wrote the book and sharing your experience, so that you're empowering others to go.
Right.
And I know I did exactly that. I go, oh, Trisha's done that. Trisha's brave enough. I can do that too, by reading a chapter that I can resonate with, and that kind of thing. So that's the message, isn't it? And I say to everybody, read your books if you haven't already, because there's so much in there. Might not go through the experiences exactly, but we can all resonate, and we can all learn, and we can all
Yeah.
feel heard and understood with that. So, do you want to remind everyone where they can get your lovely books from?
It's on Amazon worldwide, so wherever you are, you should be able to find it if you look up Love Me, and my name, and because there's lots of Love Me's out there. But
Okay, yeah.
yeah, or this is trishcampbell.com has all the links as
Mm,
well. yeah, and you're right. Like there's and so many people say that like there's parallels they can draw from, like they might not have gone exactly through what I went through, and but yet there's still things that we can learn from each other's experiences
Yeah.
and parallels we can draw. You
Mm.
know, I just really want to drive home that point that you made, that whatever it is you're feeling, if it's like it's only temporary. It's
Yeah.
not like
Yeah.
you will move through it, and that's okay to be where you're at with it right now.
It
There's
is. It
nothing,
really is.
yeah, there's nothing to
Yeah.
feel bad about.
And again, I want to remind everyone, how I've said so many times, I've been supported by so many people, and you especially, that if we do feel uncomfortable with things and we don't not quite sure how to do it, if you look on your website, you actually offer a service where you can help people be comfortable with things, process things. You have this wonderful way of doing that. Your intuitive being plus your lovely Reiki that you do, and I've experienced that myself and so grateful. So they can find that on your
Oh,
website as well, can't they, Trish?
yeah,
So
thank you for saying that. Yeah, I do Reiki healing, which is, but we also like there's support around that as well, and we
yeah,
talk through
yeah,
what you're going through. And I think sometimes we don't even know, might not be able to pinpoint what it is. And the
yeah,
body has a way of, like, the body stores our emotions. So sometimes we might not know what it is that we're going through, but the process of doing something like the energy work, like Reiki, will help bring that to the surface for us
yeah,
to process, to feel it,
yeah.
to process, to release. And as much as we can get, talking about things can help us. Moving the emotions through and out of the body is like the deeper healing work. So, and I know you provide that for other people too, and I'm so excited to
Mm,
hear that, like, you are looking towards bringing all of that back for people, all of your gifts, all of the tools that you have. I use a lot of them myself, and just so grateful for all the gifts that you have shared with me that have helped me on my healing journey. So is that something like you want to share with people, that you're starting to
yes,
work with
yes.
people?
I'm really feeling that energy to come back to my work
Mhm.
now, which is like it's a bit scary, but really exciting too. And as I say, I'm not saying I'm not going to help everyone as I did before. It's still going to be the Karma Self method, but with that focus, because I really, really feel that I want to help people with cancer because I have an
Ye-
understanding now, and that is
Yeah.
in my heart. That is in my heart, and to what I've learned, not that I know everything, because of course I don't, but I can help. And I always say I've had a whole team that have helped me, and I want to be part of someone else's team so that I can
Uh,
help them as well. And I really feel that so emotionally. That feels that that's what I really want to be doing. So that's the way that I will be coming back to work, which will be
I
lovely.
love that.
So in, so in different ways we offer support, don't we? But and also just to say to people, I come to you sometimes, don't I, Trish? And I go, I don't know what's going on, but
Yeah.
there's something, and
And it
and actually
comes
magically,
through.
yeah, whatever we need magically happens. I always say it's magic. It's not. Wait, I don't know what it is. Don't need to know what it is. But we don't need to know. We can ask for help. We can say we're not feeling okay, even if we don't understand it, and even if we don't think we have solutions. We can still do that, can't we? So I want people to
Yes.
really, really get that message today. It's important.
I love that. I think that's a good message to end on.
Yeah,
That we can, yeah, we can ask for help. There is ways that we can to move through it, but it's okay to be right where we're at as well.
yeah,
And
yes.
yeah, so where can people find you, and if they want to tap into your work, which I just want to reiterate, yeah, that calmer self method, like that, through the lens of your own breast cancer experience, I feel like you're going to help so many people with that, and it's
Thank
such
you.
a helpful tool. So I'm so excited that you're putting it out there now.
Thank
Where can people find you? Where do you want
Thank you.
them to go?
Yes, I'm evolving slowly and steadily. So my website is changing a little bit. So that is Karma Self, and that's Karma with Calmer, Karma Self. Have a look there. There's new things happening on there. And I always say to people, look at the YouTube channel. Again, it's Karma Self. Look at my YouTube channel. These lovely chats go on there, so you can look back at any
Yes,
others we've done, and this one will be on there soon. And there's just so much, isn't there? We've had a lot of conversations, haven't we,
we
about all
have.
sorts of things. So I always say to people, just have a look through, and like I do with your books, just see what pops up for me. And that's quite often what I need to be hearing at the time.
Yeah.
So That's how I'd
Thank
encourage
you for
everyone
that.
to look at you. Yeah. So yeah, so it's been a pleasure. Again, we could talk forever,
I
couldn't
know
we?
we
But it's
could.
been a pleasure.
We could.
So
Yeah.
thank you to everyone that's joined us live.
Yes.
Put any comments below. We will answer any questions that you might have, or any ideas you want. If you want us to talk about any other topics, please put some comments there for us, because we will look at them and we will answer them.
Yeah. Thanks so much, Nadine. Always a
Thank you.
pleasure to have these
Thank
chats
you.
with you.
It is. Thank you so much. Bye
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 for
then.
now.